What's up, everybody? Welcome to the week 6 episode of the walkthrough with me, Jamie Hoyle. As you can see, this week's episode is going to be a little bit different than previous episodes. And that is because I do not have a guest this week. So I will be previewing the Broncos on my own. This is a pretty big game for the Chargers. They need to get off this 2-game losing streak. They need a win in conference against even though the Broncos have an amazing defense, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. I would say the Broncos are an average to below average football team in spite of their 3-game winning streak. So to me, I think this is a big game, a big opportunity for the Chargers to get themselves off the schneid, get another winning streak hopefully started, and get a big win in division. So let's talk a little bit about the Chargers and the Broncos this week. So the Chargers have a lot of things that they've hopefully been working on during the bye week. Obviously, they need to get healthy, which doesn't seem to be going very well based on the injury reports this week. But they also have some things they need to work on, particularly on offense. They need to kind of progress the offense a little bit, evolve it a little bit, and start making some corrections for some things that have been hurting them. So we're going to start on the offensive side of some things that I think the Chargers need to do to be successful against the Broncos, who, as I mentioned, have a phenomenal defense. The Broncos are a top 5 defense at worst in pretty much every major statistical category that you use to rate a defense. They are top 5 in pass defense, rush defense, red zone defense, third down defense. They blitz 41% of the time. They are second in pressure rate and sacks in the NFL. They get to the quarterback a lot. They have a talented secondary, and their linebackers are playing pretty well at the second level. They have overhauled that defense in a big way. So some things that I think the Chargers need to do in order to be able to take advantage of this Broncos defense. One has nothing to do with the Broncos so much as it has to do with how the Chargers have been running their offense. And the first thing for me is they have to play with better tempo. And that is kind of a two-headed monster. First, they've got to get the play calls in faster. They're, I think, a little bit too collaborative on the sidelines. It's taking them too long to get plays into Herbert. They're not having time to get set up. They're having to rush through motions. They are rushing to get the ball snapped. It's leading to pre-snap penalties. It's just sloppy. It has not been very organized. It's taking too long. So they have to get the plays in faster so that Herbert can get to the line of scrimmage faster and survey the defense and make any necessary changes. They need to get to the point where Herbert is getting them into, out of bad plays and into good plays on a regular basis. And I just don't think he's been able to do that because they have not afforded him the time to do that. The other thing is I would like to see them play just a little bit faster, particularly early in the game, set a tempo, push the envelope a little bit. I'm not saying they have to snap the ball in 5 seconds, but let's get the play in at 20 seconds or so, give Herbert a few seconds to survey the field, and maybe snap the ball with 15 to 20 seconds left. Maybe at the absolute worst 10 seconds left on the clock. So you're not always going down inside of 5 seconds and allowing the defense to kind of sniff out the snap count, so to speak. So tempo is a big one. They've got to play faster. They have to get the plays in faster. And they just have to be more efficient in terms of getting into and out of plays. That's a big thing. That's bogged them down in a big way through the first 4 weeks of the season. And hopefully that's something they've been focused on during the bye week. The next thing that I think they have to do is, then they did this pretty well early in the Chiefs game in week 4. And that is, they need to script some more short passes. The offensive line hopefully is going to be in better shape this week. It's looking like there's at least a possibility that we could have Alt and Slater back on the field this week. Fingers crossed. That would obviously help out in a big way. Not sure about Trey Pipkins. We could still have Mustafa playing right guard, which is a bit of an issue. And obviously the interior of the line in general has been in flux and has not been very very consistent. Well, they've been consistent, just not in the way we want them to, through the first four games of the season. So um, I think they need to get the ball out faster. We need to see some more halfback screens, some quick slants, some speed outs, some bubble screens, smoke screens. You know, get the ball into your playmakers' hands early and let them try to make somebody miss and get upfield. I think you have a couple guys in Quentin Johnston and Ladd McConkey, both of whom are adept at making people miss and getting extra yards after the catch. Let's get the ball in their hands a little bit faster, give them a chance to make a move and see if they can get upfield. Kind of use that as an extension of the running game, particularly on first and second down. And I think they're also going to have to run some play action, kind of build off those short passes, build in some play action early to try to get some, 15 to 20 yard chunks. I'm not looking for 60-yard touchdown passes, but we do need to at least threaten the defense a little bit deeper, particularly between the hash marks and between the numbers, and just give these receivers a chance to make some plays down the field. I think, and that kind of takes me into my next point, which for me is we need to start, and Garrett's talked about this, we need to start expanding the role of Ladd McConkey. He's been the best receiver on the team through the first 4 weeks. He gets a little bit better every week. I think they were looking to expand his role and kind of unleash him in the Steelers game, and the offensive line issues in the second half kind of not sandbagged it, but kind of killed that plan because they just couldn't drop Herbert back consistently on that bad ankle behind that pass rush and try to get the ball down the field. So hopefully we can get some quick passes to McConkey and QJ early in the game, maybe set up some double moves to get some intermediate type passes and get a few play action plays to get them down, 15, 20 yards down the field. They need to start getting more chunks in the passing game. It just hasn't been there. They didn't really have to the first 2 weeks. They needed it more the last few weeks. We saw flashes of it in Pittsburgh. It just didn't carry over throughout the whole game because of the injury to Herbert and the injuries to the offensive line. So point 1, tempo, get the plays in faster, snap the ball faster. Point 2, quick passes. Point 3, use those quick passes to build in some double moves and create some opportunities in the intermediate and deep parts of the field with McConkey and QJ. The last thing, and this is something that I saw pop out to me watching the Broncos last few games, is look, their defense is really good. They're very good against the run. They flow downhill, they attack the line of scrimmage, and they gang tackle. But one thing you can do is you can take advantage of that speed coming downhill and that aggressiveness coming downhill with misdirection, with pre and post snap motion, counter action. I saw a lot of success on faking the ball one way to the running back and then handing the ball off on a reverse or a jet sweep to a wide receiver coming from the other direction. Get the defense flowing in one direction, hand the ball off in the other direction, get some chunk plays in the running game that way, kind of loosen things up. There are yards to be had, I think, in the middle of the field against this run defense, provided you can get them flowing in one direction and cut the ball back against that. So again, my points for the offense right now, tempo, get the plays in faster, get the ball snapped faster. Short passes, use the short passes as an extension of the running game to set up some double moves and get the ball down the field, get some play action earlier on first and second down, and then use motion, misdirection, window dressing, whatever you want to call it, and some counter type action to get the defense flowing one direction and cut it back the other way. I think those are recipes for success against this defense. It is a very talented defense, a very skilled defense, playing at a very high level. I'm not expecting the Chargers to go out and put up 40 points on this defense, but I do think they can move the ball and create some opportunities to score points as long as they protect the football and they do the things that I mentioned. Now, let's flip to the other side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball. The Chargers, much like the Broncos, have one of the better defenses in the league. They're top 10 in pretty much every category, total yards, rush yards, pass yards. They've been pretty good on third down. They've only allowed 7 touchdowns all season, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So they've been very good. They've bent at times, but they haven't necessarily broken. They haven't been too bad at giving up big plays. We've seen a couple of them here or there. It hasn't been too much of a backbreaker yet. Hopefully that's something they'll clean up. I think, we talked about this on the last after hours. To me, I think it had a lot to do with sending blitzes and not getting home, and defenses throwing into the blitz, or offenses, excuse me, throwing into the blitz. So for me, the first thing the Chargers have to do on defense is they have to make Bo Nix uncomfortable. I don't necessarily think they have to get to him and generate sacks, at least not early in the game. But there was evidence on film of defenses being able to speed Bo Nix up with simulated pressure. Give him some exotic blitz looks. Make it look like you're bringing 5 or 6 guys, and then drop a couple extra guys back into coverage. He has a difficult time seeing the field. The Broncos really rely on a lot of quick passes with him. They're throwing some back shoulder fades. They're getting the ball to the running backs. They're running some misdirection and some, some screens to the tight ends here and there. But the big thing for me is they have to make Bo Nix think they're coming after him and speed up his process and make him read the field in a hurried fashion. The next thing is they got to keep him in the pocket. The Broncos like to roll Bo Nix out and have him throw on the run. Keep him in the pocket. Make him move around in the pocket without letting him escape the pocket, and force him to read the field. I think good things will happen if they can do that. For me, I think in terms of coverages, I believe the Chargers are going to stop the run. I'm not too worried about that. The Broncos aren't having a ton of success running the football as it is. They've had some improvements the last couple of weeks, but overall, they have not been terribly productive in the running game. So I think the Chargers will have success against the Broncos running game. When it comes time to defend the pass, I would not be surprised if we see a lot of cover 5, which is five defenders underneath, playing zone defense. I think that's going to be kind of an important thing for the Chargers. You need to kind of flood the middle of the field, make Nix hold the ball, make him read the field. Don't let him go to his first or second option. Kind of eliminate some of those half field reads that they've been setting up for him. Make him see the whole field. I don't think he's there yet. I think you can see evidence of him being a little jittery in the pocket at times, being uncomfortable, and just wanting to get the ball out. And I think good things will happen. And look, if you make him read the whole field, if you make him hold the ball a little bit, he's shown a tendency to be a little erratic. He hasn't turned the ball over a lot in the last few weeks, which is why they're winning. But his accuracy isn't necessarily there. And I think you can just make him just a little jumpy in the pocket sometimes, which is something I think they need to do. And I mentioned this earlier, we need some exotic blitz looks. It's going to be very important to make him think you're coming after him. Show him 5, 6, 7-man pressures and drop people back where you think he might be throwing the football. But give that feeling of pressure to speed him up just a little bit more. Again, you don't necessarily have to get sacks, although I do think you can get to him because I don't think his pocket awareness is that great. But you do need to make him think you're coming after him. And last, you need to be disciplined. They need to really be dialed in on their rushing lanes, the front 7 in particular. They can't let him escape the pocket. They can't give him, backdoor escape routes to run and scramble and create with his legs, him being obviously Bo Nix. Flow to the football and tackle. A lot of the big plays that I saw the Broncos make in the last couple weeks were, throws that were inside of 10 yards, the Broncos making people miss and picking up extra yards. Did they get the ball down the field at times? Yeah, they took some shots. You got to be aware of Troy Franklin. Like I said, they like those kind of 50-50 back shoulder balls with Courtland Sutton. So those are some things to look out for. But I think the Chargers defense matches up well with this offense. It's kind of a stagnant offense. There isn't a whole lot of pre-snap motion. They just kind of line up and go. There's not a whole lot of ingenuity to it. There's not a whole lot of creativity to it. It's not terribly exotic. They're trying to keep things as simple for Nix as they can. So that's why I think it's going to be very important to be disciplined and just let the plays come to you. Don't try to do too much. It's something the Chargers have done pretty well for the most part this year. Everybody doing their job, nobody trying to go above and beyond. And when they have opportunities to make plays, they do. So that's it. that's my preview of the Broncos game. I do think this is going to be a low scoring game. I have a feeling the Chargers win this game just because I don't think the Broncos are as good as their recent 3-game winning streak suggests. I think they can take advantage of Bo Nix. And I'm hopeful that the Chargers will dial up some creative passing plays early in the game to get Herbert going, kind of open up the running game a little bit for J.K. Dobbins and whoever else is running the ball, because right now Gus is banged up as well. So just to cover my points again, I mentioned tempo, quick passes, get the ball out fast to avoid that pass rush, set up some play action, and maybe some double moves early in the game once they start reacting to those short passes, and get some counter action and some misdirection going to take advantage of their speed and use it against them. Those are the offensive keys. On defense, we're talking about simulated pressures, exotic blitz looks, staying disciplined, and playing a zone-heavy scheme where they can flood the middle and force Bo Nix to read the field and make NFL quality throws and reads. That's it. That's it for week 6. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for your support. Hope you're enjoying all the content this week, or this season, I should say. Craig's I Got 5 on It will be out on Friday. We will, of course, be back covering the game on Sunday on After Hours after the game. And then you got a whole new week of content coming out next week. So make sure you like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Join the Discord if you haven't already. Join the Patreon if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for the support, and go Chargers. Thank you.